Welcome back, friends. In the previous video we have done the read operation. So today in this video we are going to create an edit operation, and also we are going to do an update operation, so where user will update this detail. So here you can see that we have some user list here, and whenever I will click on the edit button, so I am getting redirected to the edit page, so where we have the document ID. So now our first task is that, so first of all we have to get the data from the Appwrite by a particular ID. So that we will add in our service, and after that we are going to create a function in the contact service, so where whenever the user will update the data by clicking on this update user button. And now without wasting any time, let's get into the coding section. Now let's move with first step. Let's go to the source folder, and in the service we are going to the contact service. So in the contact service we are going to create a new function, so that will get us a document. So now you can see that we have two functions here. One is the create document, get documents, and other one is create. So now here we are going to create one function here. That one we will get the document with the help of ID only. So I'm going to copy this get documents here and then just remove s here. So we have the function named get document, and here instead of user ID we need document ID. So I will name it as doc ID. And here instead of this list document we have another query here. So let's add that query. So when you will just click and press space on the VS Code, so you will get the suggestions for all the functions, all the methods that those are in the DB property here. So now what we are going to do here, so you can see that we have the database, and after that we have one function here, so that one is get document. Just click on this one, and whenever you are going to hover on it, so you can see that we have something here. First of all, what we need the database ID, and then we need the collection ID, and after that we need this document ID here. So as the document ID we are getting through the parameters, so that's why we are going to paste that document ID here. And for queries we actually don't need any query here, so that's why we are going to leave it as it is. So I'm going to just copy this all here, so you can see that these all ones we need. So one is the DB ID, and then we have the collection ID, and after that we will be having the doc ID here. So that one is our document ID. That's it. So we are returning and waiting for this one. That's it. So this is our service function here to get our document. Now let's move to the front end and let's add here. So now when you will go to this one, so here now we are getting the data with the help of this ID. So now what we want, so we want to render the data in the input box. So now let's go to the coding section here, and here I'm going to the app, and then let's go to the contact, and under that we are going to the edit. And now in the edit we are under the ID, so that one is, this one is a dynamic page, and we are under the page here. So here now first of all we have to apply the use effect. So we are getting the ID from the parameters, and you see that we have already printed the ID, so this means that we are getting the ID here. So now what we have to do, so we have to run a use effect here. So I'm going to import use effect from React, and here let's add use effect here. So we have a use effect here, and here first of all we will check if there is ID or not. So whenever there will be a ID here, so here I am adding a dependency array because ID can be null. So whenever there will be ID, so here it will, this use effect will run again. So that's why we are checking here, if ID is there then only we have to make the request to get the data. So now how we can make a request? So first of all we have to import something. So let's import the service. So that one is a contact service. So we have to import the contact service from the service folder. So that one is under the root. So root is under the source folder. And here we have to first of all create an instance of this contact service. So let's create an instance of this contact service. So here that is contact service and we have this new contact service. Now here what we have to do, so we have to apply this one here. So before that have to do a loading. So you can see that we already have a loading. I think this loading we have passed in the form. So but it will be a different type of loading here. So let's do that. So that one, this loading will be user, that is contact loading, and let's set it as contact loading, and we have the use state, and by default this loading will be true. And then we need one more state to store our contact here. So that's why we have this state. So that one is contact state, and by default it will be null. So now first of all we are going to get the contact here. So you can see that from the contact we are going to get the document. So after we have the document, and then we are going to pass the ID in that document, and after that this will return us the promise. Then we are going to handle the promise. So if the promise is resolved, so then we are running this one, otherwise we are running this one and getting the error, and by default set contact loading will be false. So now let's add here. So if the contact is loading, so then we are going to just add the loading here. So in the last video, means there will be another video after this video, and then in the last video we are going to fix the bugs there. So there we will apply all type of loadings. So when we are going to finalize our application. So for now I am just adding this text as a loading one. Just save it. So now we will see if there is contact or not. So if there is contact, then we are going to show the contact. Otherwise we are going to show invalid ID. So how we can do that? So that we can do with the help of ternary operation. So here we are going to write here conditional rendering. So for that, here we are going to check if there is a contact, then only we are going to show the form. Otherwise we are not going to show the form, and here we are going to just add that is user not found or document not found. Error 404 document not found. And here we have the form. So let's add this form here. I'm just going to cut this form and just paste it here and just save it. So we have a contact here. So now just save this one. So let's go back here and see in the coding section. So now we are getting error here. So that is 404 document not found. So why we are getting this error? So now let's debug this one. So I'm opening the DevTools, and here we have the console. So before going to the console, we are going to go to the network tab. So here we have the network tab, and I'm going to reload it again. So let's reload it. So like you see that we are getting a loading here. Now let's see if we are getting any data or not. So still we are getting error. So that one is document not found. So why we are getting an error here? So let's see the console here. So in the console we actually don't have any error. So let's see why we are not getting this data here. So that is, we have the connect service, and then we are getting the document, and after that we are running the response. So here let's console here, console log response.data. So let's see what's the issue here. So we are getting undefined here. So why we are getting undefined? So let's see. Instead of this, let's try by adding the response. So let's see what the response we are getting. So you can see that in the response only we are getting a document. So this was our issue here. So actually here you can see that res response is the object here, but here you are not getting any data field. So that's why it was getting undefined. So now let's remove this one and just save it here. Then you will get this form. So it is rebuilding. Now you can see that we are getting the form here. So we have our data as well. So now we have to show the data. So data is all in the, that is contact. So now instead of this, let's do something good. So what we can do here, so we are going to create 1, 2, 3 and 4 states here. So let's create those states. So here instead of doing that, let's do one more thing. So here let's define name, email, phone and age here, and after that we are going to set this from the response only. Here we don't have to pass the data, so just remove this data here, and after that let's pass the value and on change also here. So let's we just have to pass the value. Actually we don't have to pass the on change because that we are already handling in the form, but we have to do one change in the form here. So let's see what the change we are going to do. So I'm just going to save it. So now I'm saving this one and let's move here. So you can see that we are still not getting any data. So why we are not getting any data? So let's go to the form here and let's check what we have done in the form till now. So in the form we have the fields, button title, on submit, and then we have a loading here. So everything we have passed, but why still we are not getting the data? So this is, we are not getting the data just because of this form. So here we have added every field as empty. So now here we have to change this condition here. So if you don't know how to make this reusable form, so you can watch my first video of this series, so you will get to know about that, and the link will be given in the video description. So here you can see that we have the null string here, so that one empty string is there. So first of all we have to apply the condition. So the condition is that, so here we are going to check if field is having the value. So if field is having the value, so just we have to render that value instead of this empty string. So if it is not having the value, so just empty string we are going to render. So with the save, when you will go back and you can see that instantly we are getting the data. So now let me go back here, and here you can see that we have test user 2 and we have user@test.com and age is 22 here. So whenever we click on this edit button, so it is loading. Now it will get the data, and you can see that we have test user 2, user@test.com and 22 here. So this means that we are getting the data here. So edit operation is done. So now let's move forward and let's create a service to update this user. So it will take only 2 to 3 minutes to do that. So now let's do that. Now let's go back to the contact service here. So here we are going to create one more function. So that function will be update document. So public update, and it will take two things. So one thing is doc ID and second is data ID. So here while updating the document, we don't have to check if that document is created by the user or not. So while creating the document, so we have already set up the permissions. So only the role is assigned, permission is assigned to that particular user only. So only that user can create, update, delete and write the document. Otherwise no any user can read, update and delete this document here. So that's why this Appwrite is very secure and it's better than Firebase. So here what we are going to do, so here we have to do the same thing here. First of all, await the actually we have to return await this dot, then db, so we have to get the database and then we are going to update the document here. So now this update document is getting what, so when I will hover on it, so we need first of all database id and collection id. Every time these two fields will be same, so you always need the database id and collection id to update your document. And then we need the document id as well, and after that the data, so that we have to add, and after that we have the permissions. So if you want to change the permissions, so that you can change while updating this document as well. So now I'm just going to copy this all because we need all these one. Just copy this and paste it here. So here instead of id.unique, here we will paste the document id. So we have the document id here, and after that we have the data. And now remember in the previous one we were getting the data as a string, so that's why we have changed this data to a number. That's why we are changing the data to a number here as well, as we are getting the data from the string field, from the field, and it is in the string format. So that's why we were getting so much of errors in the previous two videos. Now just save this one. So we have done with this update one. Now let's go to the page.tsx again. So that one is for the edit one, and here we are going to add this. So first of all, let's import the router here from the next.js. So that is use router. So this routing hook, instead of this next router, we are going to import it from the next navigation, because next router is not available in the app routing. So we are doing this with the app writing, so that's why we need the next navigation. So here next router will not work. So now we are having this handle submit. So what we are going to do, so just we are going to get the contact service. So we already have the instance of the contact service, and then here just add update. So in the update we are going to pass the data and just save this. So if we have the error, so then just we are going to pass that error, but here we have to check the states here as well. So here we have to check the states also here for these all the values. So for that, let's go to the page.tsx, and here we are going to do the same thing. Just copy this one and just paste it here. So if you want to do more validation, so you can do that. So we have to import this toast from the Toastify as well. You can see that we have successfully imported the toast from the React Toastify. And if we have the error, so then we are just going to toast message that error, and after that if we are not having the error, just we are going to push that to the home with the message successfully updated. We don't need any response here. Just save this one. Now here we need one thing also here. So you can see that we have the loading here. So here instead of loading false, we have to do loading as true here. So let's add set loading as true, and here we are going to set loading as false here. Set loading as false. So just copy this, and same thing we have to paste it here. So just save this one. Now let's move back here. So here I'm going to change anything here, so that is test user to updated. Just click on update user. So you can see that loading is running, but we are getting one error here. So what's that error? So that is contact.service.update is not a function. So let's see why we are getting this error. So we have this update, but still we are getting the error. So this is because we haven't refreshed the page. So this one is a service here. So in the service, this one is a type of server type of code. So that's why we have to refresh it so that it will get that update function in the runtime. So here we have the test user to updated. Just click on the update user. Now we should not get any error. So you can see that successfully updated, and we are getting our result. So that is test user to updated successfully. So let's do same thing with the first one. So here test user updated. So let's do the age to the 25, or like update the email ID to test2.com. Just click on update. You can see that it's successfully updated, and we are getting test user updated test2.com, and here we have the age as 25. That's it. So we are done with the edit and update operation. So if you have any queries, so you can comment in comment section. I will definitely respond to that. So in the next video, we are going to go with the delete operation. So that will be mostly like 2 to 5 minutes video, and after that we are going to finalize our project. At last, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.